In the quiet city of Khufu, over 2,500 years ago, a man was born whose ideas would shape not only the soul of a nation, but the spirit of humanity itself. He was not a king, nor a warrior. He was a thinker, a teacher, a philosopher who dared to believe that harmony could be achieved not through conquest, but through understanding. Confucius, born Conchu, came into the world in 551 BCE to a struggling family. His father, a warrior of nobility, died when Confucius was just 3, leaving the family in poverty. Though his mother raised him with care, the absence of wealth and status marked the beginning of a lifelong journey of self-education and reflection. From a young age, Confucius was not like other children. While many sought power and wealth, Confucius found himself drawn to deeper questions.
Mother, why do some men fight and others lead? How do they know what is right?
Leaders are not always born, my son. Some learn by watching, others by listening, and some by questioning.
His early life was one of quiet contemplation, marked by an intense curiosity about human relationships. He believed that the answers to life's greatest questions lay not in the heavens, but in the fabric of human society, in how people treated one another.
Virtue is in birthright. It is the noble who must lead.
Birthright does not define virtue. The wise must rule, no matter their lineage.
Is virtue not earned through action, through kindness and justice?
And who are you, young one, to question us?
A student of life.
In his 20s, Confucius began teaching, but he was not just sharing knowledge. He was nurturing minds, cultivating virtue in a time when society was fractured. The China of Confucius' time was marked by chaos and war as rival states fought for power. Corruption and greed eroded trust, and it was in this moral decay that Confucius saw his purpose.
Your people suffer, not from lack of resources, but from lack of trust. Govern with righteousness, and they will follow you with loyalty, not fear.
You speak as if kindness will protect us from invasion. We rule with strength, not sentiment.
Strength without wisdom is a path to destruction. I only hope that one day you will see this truth.
Though he never sought power himself, Confucius believed that true leadership required moral integrity. He spent years traveling from state to state, offering his wisdom to rulers, urging them to govern with righteousness and compassion. But in a world driven by force, his words often fell on deaf ears.
Why don't they listen?
Patience. Not all will hear, but the truth remains.
Many rulers saw him as naive, an idealist. But Confucius wasn't disheartened by their rejection. He believed that the seeds of wisdom would grow in time, even if he would never see the fruits in his own life. And so, he wandered seeking, teaching, always refining his philosophy. At the heart of Confucius' teachings was Ren, the virtue of humaneness. For Confucius, it was the essence of being truly human. But Ren was not just a passive kindness, it was an active responsibility. Confucius believed that a harmonious society could only exist if individuals first cultivated virtue within themselves, then extended it to their families, and finally to their communities.
We are not born virtuous. We must strive for it every day and every action. The true path to wisdom lies in learning, but also in how we treat one another.
Master, how do we create harmony in such a broken world?
Harmony begins within. If we are just to ourselves, we can be just to our families. If families are just, communities will follow. And from just communities, a harmonious nation can be born.
He also spoke of the 5 relationships, each a bond of mutual respect. His vision for society was one where each person understood their role, not as a means of domination or submission, but as a balance, a harmony where duty, love, and respect intertwined. In his later years, Confucius withdrew from public life. He spent his days editing ancient texts, preserving the wisdom of the past. His influence, however, was just beginning to take root. As he grew older, so too did his disciples, spreading his teachings far and wide. They would later compile his words into what we now know as the Analects, a text that would guide generations to come. But Confucius' journey was not just that of a thinker. It was the journey of a man who knew hardship, rejection, and loss. And yet, through it all, he held to his belief in the potential for goodness in every person. He once said, "It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop." And Confucius never stopped. Even in his last days, he remained steadfast in his pursuit of wisdom. Confucius died in 479 BCE, yet his ideas lived on, transforming Chinese civilization and resonating with cultures far beyond. His teachings on morality, family, and leadership continue to inspire us today. Not because they offer easy answers, but because they remind us of what is most important: the pursuit of virtue, the power of empathy, and the possibility of harmony in an often chaotic world. Confucius was not just a man of ideas. He was a man of hope, and his hope endures.